Since my dad started his practice in 1965 and through the entire evolution of the Weil Foot and Ankle Institute, progress and innovation have been a consistent theme in our organization, and that holds true today in 2020. When my dad, Lowell Weil Sr., entered podiatry school, his class was the first class to receive a Doctor of Podiatric Medicine degree. Prior to that, it was a Doctor of Chiropody. He wanted to learn and learn and learn, and so he would spend time with orthopedic surgeons who were hand surgeons, looking at foot surgery in a different way, and started to think, how can I do it better? My dad grew up in a family that had a small business, so he had a little bit of a business sense, and as a result, when you can run a business better, you can take care of people better. And my dad recognized that early on. Running a good business would help patient care, because if he was making a little bit more money, he could invest in services, he can invest in his employees to provide better patient care. In the 1970s, running became a really big thing. And of course, with running and running and running comes foot problems. Orthotics became the godsend, and nobody knew how to do orthotics. And in fact, nobody was doing orthotics like podiatrists were. My dad actually created an orthotics laboratory in the back of his office. Not long thereafter, one of the players for the Chicago Bears came in to see my dad. And my dad had made orthotics for him, and he introduced my dad to the head trainer for the Chicago Bears. My senior year of high school was really special. That was the team that won the Super Bowl. And my dad was so involved with taking care of these players. And the respect that the players had for my dad was really impactful to me. And I quickly realized my easiest way to get involved with sports at a professional level was to be a doctor like my dad to help them be successful. I always remember my dad, trying to do things better, trying to get people better faster, back to athletics, life, shoes. My dad invented implants for the foot, things that are still used today in surgery, or predicates. When I got to podiatric medical school, I was a bit of an eye-opening experience in that my thoughts of podiatry were take care of professional athletes, do surgery, and that's what podiatry is all about, because that's what my dad's life was all about. I just didn't realize how many different areas that podiatry touches with people, whether it would be diabetics or aging population who have got different foot-related problems, or even skin conditions and trauma. Those things I didn't necessarily know about. I just kind of knew what Dad talked about and brought home. As my life has gone on, I've really come to appreciate that, and that's where Weil Foot and Ankle Institute really separates itself from all others, where many practices kind of niche themselves. We have doctors who specialize in everything and are the leaders in all these different areas of foot and ankle care that are necessary to provide the most comprehensive opportunity for care that our patients desire. My dad was always trying to find ways to do foot surgery better. He would go to the American Academy of Orthopedic Surgeons meetings, and podiatrists were not allowed into meetings like this. When I started going to podiatry school, I would go with my dad to that meeting. And I saw my dad be there the moment the doors opened until the lights went out at the end of the day. And my dad was known to spend 1 or 2 days talking to all the different exhibitors. If they were exhibitors for hip surgery, he would talk to them. If they were for hand surgery, he would talk to them. And what he would do is he would try to learn whether it was foot surgery or not, and then he would take it and do it to foot surgery. My dad was out there pounding the pavement, taking the time away from your practice so that you could actually learn things and help the patients in your practice. It's that kind of dedication to your craft that has always defined the Weil Foot and Ankle Institute. Well, then there was a surgeon from Bordeaux, France. His name is Baruch, and he traveled the world looking at different surgeons' techniques. And when he spent time with my dad in 1990, he literally had his eyes open to a new world of foot surgery. And the scarf procedure and this other procedure, he said, wow, these are the way of the future. And then he named the one surgery the Weil osteotomy. And so he started teaching other surgeons in France and ultimately the rest of the world these surgical procedures. And so Dad became really renowned. So Dr. Benton Weil, who's part of our practice, I met at Podiatric Medical School. So thank goodness I ended up going that path. Even if I flunked out, I had at least had met the woman I would spend the rest of my life with and develop a family with. So after I completed my residency and my wife completed a residency at the end of 1996, we joined my dad's practice. And at the time, Dr. Anthony Borelli, he had been the last resident my dad had trained years before. And my dad wanted to bring all of us in together, and the four of us were going to really start the modern day Weil Foot and Ankle Institute. So we felt like we provided better foot and ankle care than others. And the reason I knew that is we were publishing our outcomes, and our outcomes were better than others that were published around the world. And so we had to really start to think about, what does the future look like? And we really went on a diligent path to grow. And we brought on some doctors, and we could help manage their business so they could get the value of the things that we had created organizationally. We're always trying to look to do things better and better and better. And I think that is one of the things that is such a difference maker for Weil Foot and Ankle Institute, the doctors that work here, the team that works here. We all feel it, we all believe it, we all just want to make our patients and our communities better by making their feet and their lives better. We approached Greg Amarantos, a really respected, upstanding member of the podiatry community in Chicagoland. I said, Greg, join us. Your philosophy is similar to our philosophy. And when Greg joined our practice, it showed the world that a successful practice could join Weil Foot and Ankle and be more successful. So that was kind of stepping on the gas and adding some accelerator to the fire. The Weil osteotomy, as I talked about earlier, is a really well-known surgery worldwide. And there was a part of the Weil osteotomy that didn't address ligament damage on the bottom of the foot. And so I wanted to try to solve that problem. Some of my orthopedic friends were telling me about this technique to repair a rotator cuff through a minimal incision arthroscopically. And I looked at the technology and I said, there it is. So the next week, started practicing with this technique and light bulbs went off. The problem was it was a little cumbersome because it was meant for the shoulder. And it took me a year and a half. And finally, I got a company to see the light and they invested in it. And it all started with, you go back to Dad showing me, you go from booth to booth to booth and you spend all day, your feet hurt, to learn about all the surgery possibilities that you can apply to foot surgery. Don't give up. The pursuit of excellence, the pursuit of making your patients have better and richer lives because of something you can do for them, you got to keep going after it. With that philosophy and that mindset, we could continue to grow and add more locations. And then we could bring in the likes of a Jeff Baker who did his fellowship with us, or Frank Bongiovanni, who had a really specific set of skills and was able to bring our level of custom bracing and orthotic manufacturing to a new level. And then we could bring in people like Jeff Alexander and Dean Stern with their experience and relationships in the rush system. And then we could bring on a Matt Sorensen, who was at an orthopedic group in Minnesota. And we've brought all these great minds together to create what is now the thriving Weil Foot and Ankle Institute in Wisconsin and Illinois and Indiana, and we continue to grow. Just last year, we had moved from a location that we had been at since 1986. As we grew, as we added services, we were just busting at the seams. And we needed to be innovative with not just our patient care, but how we were dealing with our entire company. So in September 2019, we moved to our new Mount Prospect home. It has everything we need, but it is also very well equipped to handle things going forward. And so we're currently on a path of how do we expand Weil Foot and Ankle to help more people in the United States with a really deliberate and intentional philosophy of increasing services to patients, investing in technology, investing in people, better training to provide better patient care. And it's all about that, better patient care. That's the Weil Foot and Ankle Institute philosophy. My dad had a lifelong passion to create better ways to make people's feet better, always searching for something better and better for his patients. And when you look at the Weil Foot and Ankle Institute today, our culture, our aura, our fabric, it all goes back to all those stories